This next section will discuss the federal mandates that brought ICS into mainstream existence, as well as some of the basic command principles used in ICS. We will start with the mandates. Complex 21st century threats demand that all Americans share responsibility for homeland security. All levels of government, the private sector, and non-governmental agencies must be prepared to prevent, protect against, respond to, and recover from a wide spectrum of major events that exceed the capabilities of any single resource. These hazards require a unified and coordinated national approach to planning and to domestic incident management. To address this need, Homeland Security Presidential Directive 5 for Management of Domestic Incidents and Homeland Security Presidential Directive 8 for National Preparedness established the following national initiatives that help develop a common approach to preparedness and response. HSPD 5 identifies steps for improved coordination in response to incidents. It requires the Department of Homeland Security to coordinate with other federal departments and agencies and state, local, and tribal governments to establish a National Incident Management System, or NIMS. HSPD 8 describes the way federal departments and agencies will prepare. It requires DHS to coordinate with other federal departments and agencies and state, local, and tribal governments to develop national preparedness guidelines. The National Incident Management System defines what needs to be done to prevent, protect against, respond to, and recover from a major event, how it needs to be done, and how well it needs to be done. Together, these related efforts align federal, state, local, tribal, private sector, and non-governmental preparedness, incident management, and emergency response plans into an effective and efficient national structure. NIMS provides a systematic, proactive approach guiding departments and agencies at all levels of government, the private sector, and non-governmental organizations to work seamlessly to prepare for, prevent, respond to, recover from, and mitigate the effects of incidents, regardless of the cause, size, location, or complexity, in order to reduce the loss of life and property and harm to the environment. ICS is only one facet of NIMS. NIMS integrates existing best practices into a consistent nationwide approach to domestic incident management that is applicable at all jurisdictional levels and across functional disciplines in an all-hazards context. The major components of NIMS include preparedness, communications and information management, resource management, command and management, and ongoing management and maintenance. Under preparedness, effective incident management and incident response activities begin with a host of preparedness activities conducted on an ongoing basis in advance of any potential incident. Preparedness involves an integrated combination of assessment, planning, procedures and protocols, training and exercises, personnel qualification and certification, equipment certification, and evaluation and revision. In fact, the course that you're taking right now falls under a preparedness activity. Under the Communications and Information Management component, emergency management and incident response activities rely on communications and information systems that provide a common operating picture to all command and coordination sites. NIMS describes the requirements necessary for a standardized framework for communications and emphasizes the need for a common operating picture. NIMS is based on the concepts of interoperability, reliability, scalability, portability, and the resiliency and redundancy of communications and information systems. Resource management deals with the handling of resources, such as personnel, equipment, and/or supplies, that are needed to support critical incident objectives. The flow of resources must be fluid and adaptable to the requirements of the incident. NIMS defines standardized mechanisms and establishes the resource management process to identify requirements, order and acquire, mobilize, track and report, recover and demobilize, reimburse, and inventory resources. The command and management component within NIMS is designed to enable effective and efficient incident management and coordination by providing flexible, standardized incident management structures. The structure is based on three key organizational constructs: the Incident Command System, multi-agency coordination systems, and public information. Finally, the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA manage the development and maintenance of NIMS. This includes developing NIMS programs and processes as well as keeping the NIMS document current. The rest of this section will look at some of the basic command principles, the first of which is the idea of chain of command, which many of us can relate with the military or other highly structured organizations. There are two important things to remember. First, chain of command means that there is an orderly line of authority and reporting relationships within the ranks of the organization, with lower levels subordinate to and connected to higher levels. Second, chain of command is used to communicate direction and maintain management control. Chain of command, however, does not apply to the exchange of information. Although orders must flow through the chain of command, members of the organization may directly communicate with each other to ask for or share information. It is important to remember that ICS team members work within the ICS position descriptions and follow the designated reporting relationships regardless of their non-emergency positions or everyday administrative chain of command. This brings us to unity of command. The concept of unity of command means that personnel report to only one supervisor, and that they maintain formal communication relationships with only that supervisor. It is important for us to distinguish between unity of command and unified command. Unity of command is the concept by which each person within an organization reports to one and only one designated supervisor. The purpose of unity of command is to ensure unity of effort under one responsible commander for every objective. Unified command is an application of ICS used when there is more than one agency with incident jurisdiction, or when incidents cross political jurisdictions. Agencies work together through the designated members of the unified command, often the senior person from an agency or discipline, participating in the unified command, to establish a common set of objectives and strategies and a single incident action plan. We will look at unified command more in Unit 3. To wrap this section up, let's talk about some of the overall organizational functions from ICS. ICS was designed by identifying the primary activities or functions necessary to effectively respond to incidents. Analyses of incident reports and review of military organizations were all used in ICS development. These analyses identified the primary needs of incidents. As incidents became more complex, difficult, and expensive, the need for an organizational manager became more evident. Thus, in ICS, and especially in larger incidents, the incident commander manages the organization and not the incident. In addition to the command function, the following functions and activities were also identified. Operations, to delegate authority and provide a separate organizational level within the ICS structure with sole responsibility for the tactical direction and control of resources. Logistics, to provide logistical support to the incident organization. Planning, to provide planning services for both current and future activities. Finance admin, to provide cost assessment, time recording, and procurement control necessary to support the incident and the managing of claims. Public information, to promptly and effectively interact with the media and provide informational services for the incident, involved agencies, and the public. Safety, to provide a safe, operating environment within all parts of the incident organization. And liaison, to ensure that assisting and cooperating agencies' needs are met and to see that they are used in an effective manner.